Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want us to talk a little bit about motivation. So for the past year or so I've had this sort of methodology where I'll set myself a really crazy challenge. Like for instance, normally I can do sort of 2 of these videos in one day, right? I can film 2 of them in one day. And so sometimes I like to set myself just a mad challenge, like film 15 in a day, right? Just something absolutely insane, right? There's no way that I could theoretically even do 15 in a day, right? But because I've set myself such a big challenge, right, it motivates me more to actually complete that challenge. So I end up doing more, and even if I don't get to the 15, I've certainly done a hell of a lot more than I normally do, which is normally about 2, right? So a good example of this is a few years ago, I was doing a film, right? And I forgot my SD card, right? And so I had to run back home, and I had to run back, right? And it was quite a long run. It was about a 15-minute walk to about a sort of 8 or 9 minute sprint. So when I was sprinting, right, I was sprinting a lot faster than I normally would because I had the expectations of other people, right? The stakes were higher, right? So I ended up doing a lot better with that run than I would have, say, if I was just on a treadmill or whatever, right? So you set yourself these kind of crazy challenges. Like if I'm at the gym, for instance, sticking with a running theme, I like to set myself a goal of like run 3K in 15 minutes, right? Which for me is quite difficult. I know some people can do that quite easily, but I'm not like the best runner or anything like that. I'm not vastly fit, but I can do pretty comfortably like 1.7K in 15 minutes, right? So if I set myself a crazy challenge, like do 3K in 15 minutes, that's nearly double what I normally do. I'm pushing myself further, so I'm artificially increasing the stakes for myself in order to accomplish that goal that I've set myself. And sure, it's an arbitrary goal. I don't need to complete it. The stakes are low, right? Because if I don't meet that goal of getting 3K in 15 minutes, it's not the end of the world. I just didn't get it, right? But because the goal is so high and I want to meet that goal, I want to achieve my goals, right? I'm quite a goal-oriented person. I will run faster for a longer period of time just because I've set myself that goal. And I find that that's a really good way of going about life in general. Just set yourself these mad challenges, right? And just go for them. And if you don't succeed, right, you've at least gotten further than you would have if you hadn't set yourself that challenge at all, right? Like, say you're trying to make a film, right? Like a few years ago, I made a film and the idea was we wanted to get a feature film done in 6 days, right? Absolutely insane challenge, and the stakes were a bit higher with this because we're relying on other people. We can't keep hiring people out for extra days and all this sort of stuff. So the stakes were a little bit higher, right? And it was motivating me to be a little bit more like assertive with getting stuff done quickly and efficiently, right? So I ended up slipping more into a Clint Eastwood style of directing. For reference, Clint Eastwood is known for only doing 1 or 2 takes, quite fast setups. And this is how he's able to put out films so quickly. He can do a film like every 2 years, despite being like 90 years old. He's done something like 40 feature films, right? And the reason he's been able to do that is because he must have set himself quite crazy challenges to get these things done. What was the last one he did? I think it was called Juror Number 2, right? And it's kind of 12 Angry Men, but not, it's the same concept of being, you know, in a jury, but it's different in terms of the actual plot. But he actually set himself, I don't know if he did this, but he sort of set himself the challenge of getting the film done, right? Gets the film done and he moves on to the next thing, and the stakes are a bit higher, but at the same time he also has people to help him out. You know, he's got assistants, he's got producers and stuff that are keeping the ball moving, so it's not just him that's sorting it all out. With the film I was doing, it was just me sorting it all out, and I was able to do a lot more and get a lot more of that feature film done in 6 days than I would have otherwise. We didn't get the whole film done in 6 days, we had to do a couple extra days reshoots, right? But say if I'd set myself the challenge of doing it in like 15 days, we would have gotten the same amount done, I feel like, because the stakes would have been artificially lower. So if you artificially raise the stakes for yourself, I feel like, personally at least, and hopefully this can apply to you as well, you'll get more done. I think you get more done if you set yourself higher goals for yourself, because I'll tell you what, you are capable of a lot more than you could possibly imagine. The other day, I was in the swimming pool, right? And normally, I do my workout, and then I have a shower, and then I go in the sauna, and then I go in the pool, right? And I have maybe 2-3 laps in the pool. That's what I normally do, right? This time, I was like, I'm gonna do 10 laps. No, I'm gonna do 20 laps, which is nearly 10 times what I normally do, right? And after about sort of 8 or 9, I was like, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can do this. I'm already getting tired, right? I get to about 12 and I'm like, oh, I'm over halfway here. I am over halfway, right? I had to do that initial push past 2 or 3 laps to get to myself to about 6 or 7 laps. That was probably the hardest bit. And then at that point, I'm like, I'm nearly halfway. And then I get to halfway and I'm like, okay. And I get to 12, I'm like, oh, I'm over halfway. And by that point, it's just a case of pushing to the end, right? So I get to sort of 15 laps and I'm like, oh, okay, there's only 5 laps left. Oh, there's only 4 laps left. Oh, there's only 3 laps left. I can do this, right? And then I set myself the challenge of doing 20 laps a day, every day, right? And the next day I managed to do 20 laps and it was a little bit easier. And the next day I was able to do 20 laps and it was a little bit easier than that, right? And then the day after that, I had to do 20 laps, but I had to time myself because I had an appointment. So I only had like half an hour to do this. I wasn't able to get 20 laps done in that time, but I was able to get about 13 laps done in that time. So, you know, that's something like 70 laps overall that I wouldn't have done if I just kept myself to my usual rhythm of just doing 2 or 3, right? I was able to do about 6 or 7 times more than what I normally do because I set myself this crazy challenge of doing 20 laps in a go, right? And I think it can apply with just about anything and everything, right? If you're trying to, I mean, every entrepreneur, right, that is genuinely grassroots, they have to really push themselves and do crazy things. You always hear about entrepreneurs that wake up at like 3 a.m. and they do this, that, and the other, right? And it's all a little, and you hear it and you're a little bit like, oh, shut the fuck up about it, right? And you don't have to necessarily do that, but if you set yourself the challenge of waking up at 3 a.m., let's say, if you don't succeed at that and you wake up at 5 a.m., right? You've woken up at 5 a.m. That's earlier than you normally wake up, and you're able to get 2 hours or 3 hours more done than you otherwise normally would have, right? So even though you haven't succeeded at the challenge, you've set yourself a challenge and you've managed to get yourself further than you would have otherwise. And I just think it's a good philosophy in life, you know, push yourself to new extremes, try and get stuff done. I mean, no one would have sailed the Atlantic in a sailboat if they hadn't set themselves that crazy challenge. Everyone was probably telling that guy, don't do it, you're mental, right? But he went for it, and I'm sure he probably failed the first couple times. Like, you know, maybe he did the channel at first, the English channel, and he was like, oh God, this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought. And he dedicated himself to actually doing the proper thing, and then he managed to do it because he set the challenge really high and the stakes were really high. You don't necessarily need to do that. You can keep the stakes artificially high, right? Like with my example with running or with swimming. If I don't get the 20 laps or if I don't get 3K in 15 minutes, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, right? But the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And eventually you can consistently run 3K in 15 minutes, and then you can up the stakes. You can maybe set yourself, I don't know, 4K in 15 minutes, or maybe like 5K in 20 minutes or whatever, right? It's pushing yourself. You have to push yourself in order to get anywhere in the world, right? You need to push yourself and take yourself out of your comfort zone, right? In terms of setting yourself new goals, setting yourself challenges, right? And the point is, even if you don't accomplish the goal, even if you don't finish the challenge, even if you don't succeed, you've gotten yourself further than you would have otherwise, right? And I think it's just generally a good thing to apply to your life, to try new things, to push yourself and really get somewhere. So today, my challenge is I've set myself 15 videos, that I want to film 15 videos today, right? I kind of deep down know that I'm not going to do that, but if I do manage to get maybe 7 or 8 videos, that's more than what I normally do, which is about 2 videos in a day. So I think it's worth setting yourself challenges, artificially raising the stakes for yourself in order to better yourself and in order to push yourself further. Because if I'm able to do 15, or even if I'm able to do, say, 10 videos or 7 videos today, right? That means I'll be more easily able to do 7 videos tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, because I've gotten myself better at doing the thing that I do, right? Because I pushed myself to do better than I normally do, right? That's the key. You want to push yourself to do better than you normally do, right? And I think it's just worthwhile, you know. Set yourself crazy challenges, particularly while you're young, because you're not going to be young forever. You know, I'm not going to be able to do 20 laps for in 30 years from now, so I might as well do the 20 laps now while I can, rather than sitting in my comfort zone of doing 2 or 3. So that's pretty much it from me. That's kind of my general thesis here, which is to push yourself further than you think you're able to do, right? Push yourself to new extremes and try new things and get yourself out there, and you will find that the world opens up to you. the more that you do, because people also respect it. They respect the graft, they respect the fact that you're trying stuff and that you're working hard. And it also improves your motivation, improves your sense of self and your self-love, because you're a confident, capable person because you've proven yourself to be able to do better than you normally do. So yeah, that's it from me. Leave your thoughts below on this topic. Do you agree with this? Do you think that this is kind of a load of shite? Do you think that you shouldn't be doing this and pushing yourself to this? Do you think that this leads to burnout? Because it certainly can if you do it just forever without giving yourself any level of break, and that's surely a topic for another day. But I do think it's a worthwhile endeavour to try to push yourself to new extremes, to set yourself crazy challenges, and even if you don't meet those expectations, you at least got yourself further than you would have otherwise. So that's it from me. Leave your thoughts below. Thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. Take care, and bye-bye.